This week on Obsessive Cycle Disorder, we start chopping the frame. So to install the kit, we need to cut off the shock towers. These will be in the way of the sprung seat that's going to go on here, so these have to come off. This cut won't actually affect the structural integrity of the frame. We'll actually cut it above this horizontal. And to get clearance for the tank, there are some things up here that we're going to need to cut off. We're going to need to cut this off. We're going to need to relocate some stuff, and we're actually going to cut this engine mount here. Just that top leg of this engine mount will need to get cut off, so the gas tank will clear it. And then here at the back of the bike, these two, they're originally fender mount bolts. We need to grind these down flush to the rest of the frame because the hardtail section will ride right up against this. So the instructional video that RYCA made says to do a straight edge and mark right at the top of this across here, and then just cut above that line. We need to stay above the level of the backbone and not cut into it. We could always grind that down later after, all this stuff is out of the way and we can see what we're working on in there. Probably doesn't show up on camera, but there's a line there now. So I'll go ahead and cut that off. Now I'm going to switch to a flap disc sander to clean that up. Okay, here we are again at the back of the bike. These are the two fender mounting bolt locations, and these need to be going up flush against the frame. Looks like there's about 1/8 of an inch we'll need to take off, so we'll do that now. Okay, here are the couple of bolts here that hold the brake line on. Those will need to come out so we can get the bottom engine mount bolt out. And the kit comes with a replacement bolt, and this is where the hardtail kit bolts on. This is the hardtail section that comes with the kit. It's going to be a real tight fit getting it on there, so what we're going to try to do is get this right side lined up, and then we'll hold it in place with a screwdriver while we manipulate the other side. So the kit comes with all the hardware you need to put the bike together. These here are M8 by 25mm header points. Got a special tip on there that allows it to align the rear end with the hole as you're threading it in. But you got to be careful not to cross thread this one. But these bolts definitely make it easier. And just like that, my Suzuki's a hardtail. This is the bracket that holds the brake line onto the frame. With the hardtail section installed, there's no longer room for both of these bolt holes. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this front one off. I already made this cut here with a pair of snips, and I just need to cut this back one off. One thing I should point out is this is all just a temporary fitment in order to get the proper mount on the fender. I need to get, this on. I need to get the wheel on in order to place the fender where I want it to land in its final location. So all of this is still going to come back off. So when I do the final reassembly, I'm going to put Loctite on all of the fasteners. Now that I have the hardtail section on, I want to get this backbone cleaned off so I could be done with the grinder. In order to do that, I need to first strip all this stuff off. Now, I'm not real overly concerned about keeping track of all of these wires. I bought the climber manual for this bike, has a real good wiring diagram in it. So really all I need to do is just get these out of the way. This is the solenoid for the auto decompression. That's going to end up being replaced with thumb lever. So this is just going to come off and it's going to stay off. In order to get to the tank to fit, we're going to need to cut off these original tank mounting tabs. And we'll also need to trim off the top half of this engine mounting plate and eliminate this top mounting bolt. First I have to take this little chrome cover off. And that will get us access to this plate. There it is. So what we'll do is we'll just cut this off parallel to the frame right above this hole. And the spark coil will get relocated, so I'll just go ahead and take that down now. We got a flap disc sander to clean it up. And there it is, all trimmed up. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and scuff these up with some sandpaper, and I'll go ahead and repaint those now. Okay, while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I'm going to go ahead and cut this tank mounting tab off. And what I'm going to do to protect the engine is I have this piece of leather. This is actually from a welding vest. I just split it down the seam of the sleeve, and then I'll just tuck it up underneath the frame and over the engine. That way if the grinder gets away from me, it won't do anything to the engine. We switch out the cutoff wheel for the flap disc sander again to bring it down to the right level. Alright, looks like those are down far enough, but I still am going to need to take down the engine mount holes to get this to slip over the top. So a little more grinding. And there we got it, all set. So it's finally warm enough to get a little bit of painting done. So I went ahead and took off the hardtail section so I can go ahead and touch up paint all of this. Also, I epoxied some plastic plugs into the top of these vertical pipes here. This is also a good time to remove all the little safety stickers off the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and hit those with the heat gun and get rid of those. Okay, with all the safety stickers off, I'm ready to start touch-up painting on the frame. I need to repaint everywhere I touched it with the grinder, so And when I put the masking on, I try to put it in underneath this backbone here and along weld lines, so we won't have major paint lines. All right, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for this week's episode. So next week we'll install the gas tank, probably the seats, and I got new white wall tires for this thing. We'll probably get those on there as well. As I mentioned in last week's video, I am looking for some beta testers for some new products that I have coming out. It will cost you nothing but a little bit of feedback. I'll send you out products absolutely free in exchange for telling me what you think of it. So if you haven't already, you go watch the beta test video on my channel and get the details on how to sign up for that. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching.